game, the blame game. It is sad on the damages that are left to the blame games and the double standards that come with it. We are in a time where everyone is blaming someone. It's quite easy to point a finger at another person and forget the three fingers pointing back at you. Holding you accountable to your own words, but it's easy. Sadly, if you are of a different demographics or community or race or gender or status quo in a particular place, you will take the fall for it. You just have to be in the wrong place at the right place or the wrong time, or wrong. At the end of the day, someone will hold you accountable. If you're in a male-dominated kind of company or industry, and they give you, and you are a female and they're given a promotion to a high level, and then, that company, not 6 months even, it already goes down, everybody will blame you and say, oh, look at women. Well, in all honesty, the male-dominated people who are running it already know how much they screwed it up. Or if you switch it, if it's a more women-dominated area and it's a man who's been given a position, and let's say 6 months they messed it up, he takes the position, whichever high-level position, the company flips down. Look at men. We look at where we are in terms of the level of information we get in terms of crime. We are witnessing a time whereby femicide has gone a shot up way beyond anyone's imagination. And at the same time, even male have been killed. But when you go to, try to have a conversation or reason, even look at a comment section, it's a battle of genders. If it's a female who has lost her life, first thing, or prostitution, next thing, there's always so many painful words. If it's a male, they should have learned, they should have done this. So at no point do people ever sit back and realize, okay, fine, you may be a keyboard warrior, but do you understand the impact of your words? Because it is easy to shout, but sadly it's hard to reason. Because it is easy to say this. You see, we are in a time whereby you really want to blame social media. You want to blame the internet, but let's be very honest. What is the internet and all the applications and all the innovations build on? They're built on input. Who gives the input? Mankind. Whether it's the developers, whether it's the developers, where is the people who maintain this internet different application, or whether it's you, the user, who puts in the information, where moderators have to have sleepless nights, insomnia, and so much trauma because of all the crazy and dark things they have witnessed as they are trying to remove your content. The truth of the matter is, it's easy to point a finger on the social media. But the truth is, the social media isn't the problem, it's the users. Because the users keep inputting things, believing that no one's going to get to see what my true or my dark side. And the moderator is there fighting their life away to remove your content, but no one has prepared them for the type of things they're going to see. And even some of them, their lives are never the same. So it's easy to blame the social media, but we forget the social media only amplifies our thoughts, our intentions of our hearts. It just amplifies it. So when it's easy to blame, look at these people, they're doing like this, the honestly is, someone had to put that content inside. Someone else shared the content or commented on the content, or someone subscribed to it. At the end of the day, the chain keeps growing. But if the person had put their content and nobody viewed it, nobody liked it, nobody commented on it, then we never have that feed. But because someone has released it, we have the feed. Then comes the algorithms. Whether it is you, something you've watched that is bringing down the algorithms, or someone else's content you had subscribed to, and so it automatically pulls you into that chain, believing because you liked a particular content they liked, so any other content maybe they produce a particular type of content you liked, but then now they are liking another type of content. So because you're already part of this watching a particular content you liked, you are pulled into it. Then you start seeing something and thinking, Is it me is it my gadget? How am I getting this information? You have to go back to the chain, because someone's content you liked or you subscribed to, whatever they were doing, pulled you into it. So it's always easy in life to blame. We look at Adam and Eve. It was easy for Adam to blame Eve, Eve to blame the snake. Nobody wants accountability. Let's look at governments. Governments will not take accountability. They will blame the citizens. Let's look at the citizens. Citizens also will not take responsibility. They'll blame the government or the next person. Let's look at parents. Parents would take responsibility. They'll blame their parents, or they blame their community, or they blame their children. Children want to avoid accountability. They'll blame their parents, they'll blame the community, or they blame social media. And the chain keeps going. But the reality is, in all this blame game, people get hurt. Trauma is built. Hearts are broken. Abuse penetrates. Toxicity becomes rubber stamped as an approval. And at the end of the day, people are more broken than they were initially. You can be just minding your own business, pulled in some type of information. Now, just because you've received that information, makes you an accomplice if you don't act against or on it. And now you're thinking, I was literally minding my own business. Now you are called to a court to tell your side a story as a witness, and you're thinking, what am I witnessing? But already they say, oh, there's a message that was sent to you, or maybe you are seen in this photo, or you shook hands, or you had, and thinking, I didn't even know much about this. And by the time they realize you're really not that important in that whole investigation, the emotional damage. Right now we are in a time where you just want to be careful. You don't even want to, even when someone wants help, you want to look first around if there's a camera watching, because you are thinking maybe this is a content creator. True, you want to be very careful with the person you want to assist, because you are thinking, are they legitimately in need of help, or are they a criminal? And the third, you want to be very careful because of this gender wars. You have to be very cautious, because you may choose to, with good intent, to assist, but end up finding yourself in a gender war that can literally destroy you to completion. So you really have to, you can't, if someone says, I want to come to your place, you have to learn to say no. Because let's say they took a poison and they know when that poison is going to take effect, and they're looking for a place where they will put the blame, and they collapse in your house. How will you get yourself out of there? By the time, only by the grace of God, they do a proper investigation and realize whatever content is in their system was already there prior to, they will say you are the one. That's why you can't accept anyone just to come. Or a child comes to play with your children. You have to say no. Let them be in an open compound where everyone is watching, but not in your house. Because let's say that child was defiled by their parents, and then they end up in your home, and those couple decide to put blame on someone. Your household will be held. It won't matter if it won't matter. So right now you have to be very careful. If kids want to go play, let them go in a whole compound or in a playground where all of you can see, and everyone takes their child and you go home. But this business of saying, oh, let my nephews come or my nieces come or someone's neighbor. No, you have to say no. Because right now people are very wicked. Someone would give, let's say even if someone gives you a car and say, hey, I'm free, my car is free on this day. Do you feel like, having it for the weekend and drive? And then you in your foolishness and thinking, oh, God has had me, I'm going to save on fuel. Maybe that person has given you that car knowing it has done a crime, or knowing it has a technical issue, a brake fail or something, and you are the sacrifice for that day. You are the ritual to be given. Or people invite you for an event and you're like, wow, this is one of those big events, only to end up there, and then you are the one everyone is pointing a finger at, and they're like, oh yeah, even this person came. Or what politicians do, they invite you and you're going there and you're thinking, what's going on? Or a celebrity. And then something happens, you're caught up in the photo section, and then they say, even this person was here with us to, amplify our voices. But the truth of the matter is, you knew nothing. We live in a very dangerous world where everyone is pointing a finger at someone, but no one is remembering the three fingers pointing back at them. zero accountability. Because people feel shame, but they don't want to acknowledge. Peter denied our Lord Jesus Christ 3 times, yet he saw all the amazing things our Lord Jesus Christ did, but he wanted no association at that time, because that's the world we live in. And that's why we should be very careful and very cautious. When Cain killed Abel, he didn't care about the damage he did. He confessed, oh yeah, I killed him, but he didn't repent of it and feel, I should really apologize for my action. No, he was like, people will kill me. Jacob's sons, when they did the damage they did at Shechem, Jacob didn't scold them to the extent of, you guys, you know what to do. No, he was only worried about the retaliation, because that was a massacre. So we look at people everywhere around us. We look at couples. You know, it's so sad if some children got to know that they were born out of infidelity. Someone wanted leave. Someone just wanted a child just for the sake of running away from a counter. If some kids knew, their brains will never be the same. Because sadly, some children are born in a situation whereby, let's say, a partner goes out and they realize they are 1 week in or 3 days in, they realize, oops, yeah, one penetrated inside now. How will my husband or my boyfriend be able to know this is not his? So they think very fast. They'll find a way to woo their partner. Partner has the best time of their life, relax, and that lady will make sure the guy really gets it. No, she will not refuse it. The partner or the husband. And then later on, when the child comes, the husband is nose in the heart, definitely that's my kid. Until an incident happens, they realize, nah, something is wrong right here. And for the few who choose to take that leap of faith and go and do a DNA test, then realize, crap. And then you do your own investigation, realize, my cousin, my best friend, my old man, that gatekeeper, the boss, the colleague, whether it was a one-night stand, whether it was a long time infidelity, that's where it is. Or another is born out of leave. Someone has realized, okay, these guys will never give me leave. You know what? I just need a kid. Boom. They get a kid. They have maternity leave. They add their whatever leave days are plus their maternity, and it's long, and there it is. So we are in a time whereby if you knew some things, you will never be the same. And misery loves company. And sometimes it's quite sad when people out here confess the truth of what they've gone through or their trauma. And there are people who just want to pull them down, because 3/4 of the people want to pull them down. They never took that leap of faith to go out there and share their story, or they are the abusers themselves. So it's one or the other. Either they're the victims who are still under the trauma, or they're the abusers who just don't want anyone to ever speak. The sad story is, if you listen to them, the story never goes and saves another life, and the abuse still continues. Because if you never point out an abuser, the next person who will be abused will be someone close to you, someone not weak or strong enough to understand. We look at how people can go and blame. Let's look at churches, for example, or religious places. You'll hear things like, oh, this young generation, oh, they're like this, they're like that, they're like that. But that church or that institution never takes its time ever to invest in the young people. They just want them for the sake of having numbers to pull, to show the community that we are a church or we are a religious institution that cares about the people. But there's no actual interaction. There is no care and concern about the generation. But it's quite easy to blame them when they go astray, because you never let them. So you want to say, oh, it's because they don't pray like this, or it's because they don't know. Nonsense. You have a role to play you didn't play. Yes, you can fool the world, but you can't fool God. And so we have wars. We are in a time whereby we have all this technology. If you are good as a preacher, or if you are good in giving your sermons, you give them. Let it be posted on different platforms. They let people be judged to realize, I think I like this type of content, I like this type of sermon. Where is this religious institution I want to go, and or faith institution I want to go and be a member, because if this is how they speak, I'm interested. So the only way people will vet you is let them see the type of clips that and listen to the type of content you say, then they will make a decision. But telling people that if you have to come into my building and taking scripture out of context just to justify your ego, yeah, you're a problem. You need help. You need more therapy. And we look at even how people approach marriages. Same logic applies. Someone will approach it from the context of, hey, if I can be able to stay with this person up to 10 to 15 years, I can be able to get out of here with a major divorce settlement. I can be able to play around as I feel like, as long as I get my money at the end of the day. Or someone knows they have a disease and they say, I'm going to marry this young lady. And this lady thinks, oh, I found. Let's look at these two people actually. Someone who's older, who has a disease, an STI. And then a younger lady who has looked at this older man and she's seen the money. These two people, each with their own evil intention, meet. And they each satisfy each other without even noticing the intention. The younger lady has the money. She has the property she was desiring, but she has a permanent disease. The old man has the other disease, maybe this lady has gotten from being promiscuous also. So he has double what he had initially. So now both of them are taking medication till the day they leave this earth, because now the level of infection they have is way up. They don't just have one, they have a plethora of infections. But that's where we are right now. We have people who want to have filters and put up things and say they're looking for the perfect person. And when they get that simple person who says, hi, they're like, you don't have a car, you don't have this. And they really forget, just because you have a car doesn't mean you have money. Many people who have cars, you budget, you put the fuel, hoping and praying that that fuel takes you through the day and there's no traffic jam or anything that will make that car stop at the end of the road. And someone else is looking at you and thinking you have, but that person doesn't have. Actually, and that's the funny thing. You see the wars between those who walk and those who drive, those who are riders. And when you sit back and look at all these things, it's just pure nonsense. Because at the end of the day, each one of us needs another one. We are in a chain. Everyone is selling something, whether you like it or not. As you speak, you're selling something. As you actually purchase, you've bought from something. So each one of us plays a major role. And we are on this earth. It doesn't matter your religion, your belief system. We are all in this earth and we all need one another one way. It gets sad when we each want to blame one another, feeling like we are the better placed, but we are more worse than the other person, because like I said, it is easy to point a finger at a person and it's easier to forget the three fingers pointing back at you. It doesn't make you any better or any lesser evil from the other person. Some people being locked up and are in prison. Some are even more better and holier compared to the ones out there who are now the real criminals. The only difference is those got caught, or they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the real criminals are walking all around. The masterminds are walking all around. Doesn't mean the one locked up is any different from the one outside. Or like the way we look at prostitution. So we have the one who's at the street corner. We have the one at the brothel. And then you have these ones where there are many, where you claim you're not on the streets, neither are you on the brothel, but you want someone who has money, but will give them their body for exchange of money. I think you should be called Pro Max. You're in the Pro Max prostitution level. I mean, you're in the Pro. Let's say you are the Pro Max with the new features, but it does not exclude you from the industry. You for the streets. It doesn't matter your gender. The fact is, if you have to exchange something, your body, for money, and that is from the intimate side of it, for money, you're no different from the lady or the gentleman at the street corner. just part of the same clock, just a different piece cut off from the same clock. We're in the same industry. You might try to justify this. No, you just, what can you say? You just have different features. You still remain to be it's like a phone. We have all these brands of all these companies out here of phones. They are all phones, but what separates them is the features that come with it. But the bottom line is they all communicate. They are all phones. We have cars, many cars on the road. The only difference is the features. Then the features equals to the brand. But the fact still remains, they are all cars. So sometimes we lie so much to ourselves and always keep shifting the blame when we should really look inside. And maturity is when you accept that yes, we make mistakes, and accountability, it's very important. And blaming other people, it's not mature, it's foolish. Hold yourself accountable before you hold others accountable. Look within before you look outside. Wash your house, your temple, yourself, before you go out there and start saying people are smelling. You could be the one smelling so much that your smell is so big that you think others are smelling, but they're the one who's smelling. And you wondered when people are closing their noses, it's not because they are smelling, it's because you are the one smelling. You need to clean yourself up internally. All the things you watch, you listen to, conversations you engage in, all this get into your temple, be in your body. And if you don't drain away the filth, you become the filth. You see, if you take a garbage site, before it's called a garbage site, it's just a site. Simple, it's a site. Does nothing, it's just a site. But when you start throwing garbage, it becomes a garbage site. But originally, it's just a site, it's just a land. But now you start throwing the garbage, it changes its value from just a mere land to a land. Now, if I take the same land and I plant crops on it, same land, so I have two types of land. One, you add garbage to it, it changes its value. Another same type of land, I plant crops on it, it changes its value. So I have one which is getting filthier, and the one that is getting better and blossoming. And nobody wants the garbage. People want to eat, but after they are done eating and buy stuff, they throw it. Where are they? Garbage. So you have to ask yourself, are you the site that has accepted the garbage that may do the garbage site, and you're now the litter bin? Or are you the site where you are planting crops and then you're being nurtured? It's a very important question. Are you the garbage site or are you the plantation? Because what you feed is what you become. So as you cast a blame on anyone, remember, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. So you are either the garbage site or you are the plantation. There's no in between. And all this is built on everything we watch, we listen to, conversations we engage in. They all fill our body, our temple. And if we don't drain it out, we become the garbage site. But when you drain it out, we become the plantation. That is a choice. Life is a choice. The first step is to look inside and to start making the changes, or else you are no different from the garbage site. And as you are busy saying others are smelling, you might want to look inside. You may be the one smelling too much, that your smell confuses you to think it's the outside. May God help us all to discern, to be honest with ourselves, and to live the life that is real, and not this plastic lifestyle, this fake materialistic lifestyle. May God help us all.